Hey everybody, it's me. It's been a wild 16 hours since we started getting emails from Amazon with regards to Nike. We got, I believe, 133 emails, and according to my staff, most of them were for things that we do not have in stock, things that we've sold in the past. And so what we believe is happening is that the Amazon bots are scanning accounts and they're sending these emails to anyone who's ever sold particular ASINs. A lot of the ASINs were socks, were sandals, were golf balls, were sports bras. We did get some shoes like Nike Revolution 3s and some other ones. We created a shared Google Doc for all our clients where you can post your restricted ASINs or the ASINs that are going to be restricted. And I'm just going to try to summarize everything that we know from Amazon, our Amazon sales rep, our experience, all the things that we've seen in the last 16 hours. So it very clearly, the emails very clearly states that this restriction is going to be on Amazon.com in the US. So we can determine from that all other marketplaces should be okay for the foreseeable future. It also says that you have till July 13th, which is probably going to be either Prime Day or the day after Prime Day, to sell your inventory on Amazon before it goes restricted. So that's a good thing because we usually see a 300 to 500% increase on Prime Day. What we know about Prime Day is it's going to happen probably midweek and probably the second week in July. So if I pull up a calendar, then it's going to be probably between July 10th and July 14th. We expect it to be about 30 hours, so it'll be 6 hours one night from 6 p.m. till midnight, and then the subsequent 24 hours. And typically, a rising tide lifts all boats, so you'll see increased sales the few days before and the few days after, because they're trying to get more people to shop on Amazon, and Prime customers obviously are very hyperactive buyers. So we expect to see a full week of increased sales wrapped around Prime Day. What we're doing is we're researching how many of the ASINs that we got notifications for we actually have in stock. And we found that most of the ASINs that we got soon to be restricted on, we don't actually have in stock. They're things we've sold in the past. And we also got duplicates of the same ASIN, which leads me to believe that it's being done by bots and not by people. So that's a good thing. We don't know if the entire brand is going to go restricted or if it's going to be certain ASINs like Under Armour. So with Under Armour, there's certain ASINs within the brand that are restricted, typically the newer styles. And the older ones that you can buy at outlet stores, you can buy in other places, TJ Maxx, Marshalls type stores, are usually not restricted. Now, if you're a newer seller, you might be restricted on the whole brand, and you may be able to get approval, and you may or may not have to pay a $1,500 fee. We actually have clients that, as recently as this morning, said that you're approved, got letters from Amazon saying that you're approved to sell Nike. All you have to do is wire us $1,500 by June 28th, which is 2 weeks from today, and we'll get you approved for Nike. So I'm not sure if this is a case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing, or two different parts of Amazon not being on the same page, or if Amazon's not going to go, if Nike's not going to go fully restricted on Amazon. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. We're very wide on Nike. We're very deep on Nike. We're not panicking. We're in the process of checking our inventory levels on an ASIN by ASIN basis. And then we're also comparing that to the full gamut of FBA sellers and how many items they have at FBA cumulatively. So if we have a particular ASIN that's going to be restricted in 30 days from now, we can see how many we have in stock, and we can see how many every other FBA seller has in stock added up together. And based on sales velocity, which is expected to increase as prices go down in the next month, we can determine whether or not we're going to be able to sell ours at the optimal selling price, or whether or not there's so much inventory at FBA that we want to be more aggressive on the pricing. So we have right now a finite supply, our supply and FBA's supply with all the other FBA sellers that are selling Nike. And we have Amazon telling us that you can no longer send these ASINs in on an FBA shipment. So the FBA supply should not be able to go up in the next 30 days. Now I've seen, where people could still ship it in on FBA right now, and it could be it's just working its way through the system. So if you have a finite supply and you have strong demand, you can time it so that as the supply depletes, you can get your optimal price, because the demand is only going to go up, not down, in the next 30 days. So we're making that calculation right now, and we're trying to determine what's the optimal strategy for each ASIN or each group of ASINs based on what criteria they have in common, what parameters they have in common. We've reached out to our account reps at Amazon with regards to Nike. We're not getting comprehensive, complete, straight answers right now, and it could be that they haven't decided yet. It could be that they're not sharing it even with us yet. It could be that it's not public, could be it's not finalized. So, there's a million reasons why they wouldn't tell us what's going on. And I was just asked to speak to the Wall Street Journal about this, and what I said was, we've sold millions of dollars worth of authentic Nike products on Amazon. We filled a void in the market because Amazon is not selling these products. Nike's not selling to Amazon. So Nike may be getting into bed with Amazon, but I doubt that Amazon could support such a vast line like Nike with thousands and thousands. There's close to 100,000 products on Amazon by Nike. So they would have to buy those, maintain those, stock those, all the colors, all the variations, all the styles, all the sizes, all the categories within Nike. I don't think Amazon is geared towards that right now. And so I don't think the entire brand is going to be restricted. I could be wrong. And I also think if you've sold the brand consistently and authentically, that you might have some leeway here. I can't promise anything. You will not be able to get approved from Nike Wholesale. Nobody will be, except for Amazon, if that's the path they decide. With regards to would you pay the $1,500 to be able to sell Nike, right now I would probably hold off until we see how this plays out in the next 30 days. Because the way they word it is that it's a non-refundable deposit. But on the flip side, if you were to pay Nike $1,500 right now, or in the last 30 or 60 days, like I know a lot of you have, $1,500 for the approval to sell Nike, and then within 30 to 60 days, you're being told, okay, nobody's allowed to sell Nike, whether you paid the $1,500 or not, I would imagine that every single seller that paid that money would demand a refund from Amazon. And even if it says non-refundable, the bad press they would get for it, and possibly the class action lawsuits they would get from collecting a $1,500 fee to sell a brand, and then subsequently within 30, 60, or 90 days say, hey, you can't sell that brand and we're not giving you a refund. I can't imagine that Amazon would want that much bad press, and I can't imagine they wouldn't react by giving refunds. So I'm just, spewing out random thoughts here because there's a lot going on. We have a lot of clients that are nervous or panicking, and it's their whole business or it's part of their business. This all started about a week ago on Thursday when I was at a family affair and I was talking to some other family members that are big Amazon sellers like we are. And I was talking about Nike and Amazon and how I was getting a bad feeling that something was going to happen. And, one of my nephews said to me, I wouldn't be surprised because in the category that I sell in, health and personal care, we've seen this happen with Procter and Gamble and some of the other big brands where they're making deals with Amazon first party and they're either slowly or quickly phasing out third party sellers. So that is why I made that post a week ago, and then I agonized over it. I literally told my retail arbitrage and online arbitrage teams not to source Nike last Friday, and they were obviously had a harder time doing their jobs because they couldn't source Nike. And then by Friday afternoon, I had given it, 20 hours of thought. And I said, you know what? We've been through this before with Nike. We've been through this before with Amazon. And it was a scare. It wasn't a reality. And in the event that we do get shut down from Nike, the options that I, came up with were Joe Lister and listing them on eBay. Jet, we just started selling on Jet, and we're selling some shoes on Jet. So for those of you that want to get set up on Jet, we can help you with that. Obviously, Amazon International seems to be a viable option. I was also thinking, if we take all these shoes and we bundle them, we put them in a nice spreadsheet, we could possibly sell these to retailers. We could possibly sell these to, closeout and liquidation guys. We could possibly return them to Nike stores, different, multiple stores over multiple days, and maybe, obviously that's not the best solution. I don't normally advocate returning goods to stores. If we bought goods, to sell, we usually keep the goods, and if we made a mistake, we'll probably donate them or liquidate them. I don't think we've ever returned anything to the stores, but if you're talking about 5 or 6 figures of inventory, sometimes you got to look out for your own survival. So every situation is going to be unique. I'd be happy to talk to any of you one-on-one privately if you don't want to discuss this, amongst other people. Everything we speak about will be confidential, and, I'd love to help you navigate through this. It does not make sense that they're approving people for Nike while they're telling you that the items are going restricted, which leads me to believe that they're restricting only certain ASINs within the brand. Don't hold me to that, though, because there's no straight answer right now from Amazon. And what I said to the Wall Street Journal, and I'll say to you, is, I'm an entrepreneur. I expect my life to be somewhat of a roller coaster, this business to be somewhat of a roller coaster. If I wanted a 9-to-5 job in a cushy corner office with a steady paycheck, that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't have the lows and I wouldn't have the highs of being an entrepreneur. So, we're all in this together. We're all on the same team. We're all trying to provide for our families and loved ones. And we're going to get through this. We had a client last year who was 90% Under Armour and Jockey, and then Jockey told him he wasn't welcome in their stores anymore, and Under Armour went restricted, and he was panicking, and, I had to talk with him, and, if you talk to him now a year later, his business has grown by leaps and bounds. He's probably going to double or triple this year. And, he says it was a blessing in disguise because it forced him to adapt, and it forced him to look at other products, and, forced him to get better. So things are going to get tougher, in every business in the next 10, 20 years. And you have to get better. That's what it comes down to. 1 second, I'm seeing some posts here that I will try to answer. Perry, I'm not sure what you mean by a formula calculation for an ASIN. I think what he means is, if we can guesstimate sales velocity and we could see how many we have in stock and we could see how many all the other sellers have in stock by using the how many extension or something like that by Mark Crawford, we can definitely see about whether or not it makes sense to continue with that. Daniel Bach, I see your post earlier. I'm not sure how that's going to play out with PPAI. I don't know what's going to be with Nike. I don't know if the whole brand's going to be restricted. I don't know if it's going to be certain ASINs. I don't know if it's going to be certain sellers with certain ASINs. There's no clear-cut answer. I apologize. This is something I use to help me think. It's a baseball bat, and it just fell. Anyway, so getting back to Nike, I would tell you, if you have stuff in stock and you're nervous, you can be more aggressive with your pricing. Hope to sell it in the next 30 days. I would tell you get it listed on other platforms and other marketplaces, whether it be Amazon International or eBay or Jet. Do multi-channel fulfillment. So from what we understand, they're going to go restricted July 13th, which is exactly 30 days from when the emails came last night. They're going to want you to have it removed by August 12th. And if you have them removed, you create a removal order. It's normally 50 cents a piece to have something removed. They're going to waive those fees for you. And I've seen them do this with other brands that went restricted, where they're saying, okay, we're kind of putting our sellers in a bad position. We're kind of giving them short notice. So as a courtesy, we're going to waive the removal fees. So that leads me to believe that this is very real and very legit and very serious with those ASINs. Doesn't necessarily mean the whole brand. Now, the emails did stop last night. I was on the phone with Ike for a long time last night. We were brainstorming what we should do. And at first, I just told them, maybe we should just take everything Nike and set it to market price and just sell it. And, Ike talked me off the ledge a little by saying, let's look at it in the morning. And, yeah, we won't have first mover advantage on repricing, but perhaps most of the restricted ASINs are things we don't even have in stock. And, let's really look at all the data before we make a rash decision with a large part of our inventory, and that's what we did. So, like I said, most of the emails that we got did not pertain to anything that we currently have in stock. The emails have stopped. Most of them were for random items like shorts and bras and golf balls and backpacks and sandals, and not necessarily for popular Nike sneakers, which is a good sign because I think Amazon has to play a game here where they have to continue to be Amazon and be the everything store. And so they can't be out of stock on popular items for any extended period of time. So I think that they're going to try to do this slowly and gradually and phase things out, certain ASINs or certain sellers or both or certain brands to third-party sellers. And so I think we're in a good position here. I think we're all going to be okay. I don't think anyone should panic and tank prices. And I think you really need to evaluate your inventory, and we can help you if you need. I don't think if you have not gotten any emails yet that you will be able to continue to sell it after July 13th. You're okay to sell it now. So the way the email read was, we want you to remove it by August 12th. If you do, we'll give you free removals. And then we really want you to remove it by October 10th. Otherwise, we have the right to dispose of it. So we do have some time before we need to decide what to do. Time is always good in these types of situations. We want to be calculated. We want to look at all the information, all the data, all the moving parts. We want to be emotionally detached from this decision, and we want to do what's in the best interest of our business. So that's a great question, Abe. I don't think for the foreseeable future we're going to keep buying Nike, although I've gone back and forth literally since last Thursday night till today is, I think, Wednesday. Do we keep buying? Do we not buy? I think at this point there's too many sharks in the water and there's too many other things to buy. And I don't want to be making this into a pitch for our wholesale, but we have over 200 brands, soon to be closer to 300. I was going to pull it up on my screen, but I don't want to stop this video accidentally. We have pretty much every brand that you've sourced at retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, with the exceptions of the Nike, Adidas's, Puma, I think. We have wholesale accounts with Calvin Klein, and we have with, Fruit of the Loom, and we have with Warner's and Olga's and Saks and Bally and Maidenform and Wacol, and tons of bras, tons of lingerie, tons of swimsuits, tons of clothing, tons of socks, tons of shoes. And we're getting some really, really big brands. We have clients that are buying, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands a month from our wholesale. We're doing the same, obviously, and we're hedging our bets, obviously. We have a bunch of college kids here that always come for the summer, high school and college kids. We had 2 people. We put them on full-time on running the list for you guys, because a lot of you are part of the wholesale group but still not placing orders. We have people that are calling, maniacally, opening up wholesale accounts, a bunch of young, aggressive, high-energy college kids. And so we expect to have a few hundred accounts, maybe 500 by the end of the summer. And obviously, I'm vetting them, Ike's vetting them, Maria's vetting them before we tell them to start running. So I could talk to you privately about how to join the wholesale group. You do need to be part of the store, but I know some people have been clients for years, so we're going to work on that. Some people are brand new. We're going to work on that. And one thing I thought of that Kyle Schroeder just mentioned was what happens with Under Armour, Adidas, and Puma. So I don't think that those brands are as prominent or critical as Nike. And I don't think, and Reebok can be in there as well, I don't think we're going to see that on those brands in the near future. It's not to say we're never going to see it. I think Amazon themselves is not sure what they're going to do with the big brands. Michael Gindy and anybody else who's local, I have an influx of college kids, so I probably have more than I need. I'll gladly send you some, and I keep getting people sending me them from community organizations and such, so I could definitely refer them to you, and we can go from there. Just trying to think what else. Nike, Amazon. A lot of the information that I'm sharing is going to other Facebook groups, which is creating panic. I would implore you, for your own selves and your own businesses, keep everything we're sharing within the group. It is proprietary information. It is not available to the public. I spoke to our Amazon sales rep. There's going to be changes coming to Amazon, but they fully support third-party sellers. They realize that we're about half of their marketplace of $138 billion last year was from third-party sellers. I would bet it's more than 50%. but I think Amazon has kept it at 40 to 50% the last few years in all their public statements, because once it passes 50%, then they're more of a marketplace and less of a seller. So I think psychologically they're keeping the number that they're telling people under 50%. Rumor has it that there's about 50 to 80 million Prime members now. I've seen different quotes. That's an obscene amount of people, and much like Ace, they're constantly adding massive value with the videos and all the other things that they're offering. Prime Now is available in more and more cities. It's incredible. It gets you the goods within 2 hours at no extra charge, or within an hour for I think $8 or $9. I used it in Florida, down in Miami, so that was awesome. And I think, the one thing I have to tell people is, you got to be ready to adapt. You have to be big enough to scale, and you have to be small enough to be nimble. And that's how you make a lot of money, and that's how you become successful, and that's how you stay relevant. And, I think we all need to work together and share information and, brainstorm how we can best attack this, and I was talking to my wife this morning, and, she was saying, oh, wow, that's, big news. And, I was comparing it to any other business model, right? Every other business model has their hiccups and their challenges, and it's a roller coaster. And my father-in-law is a dentist, and a lot of things changed for him when Obamacare came in. And, he lost a substantial part of his income due to Obamacare. And then my brother-in-law is an attorney, and he was petrified that if Trump got elected, it would phase out the type of law that he's doing, because they were going to repeal the Dodd-Frank Act, and it was a whole big thing. So every business, there's no business that's insulated from these types of changes. It's up to us to be aware and be informed and be responsive. And, I saw this coming, not this exact thing, but I saw this coming the last few months with retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. And I am not a fear monger. I've never told people stop doing what you're doing. We're going to do retail arbitrage until the day Amazon officially says you're not allowed to do retail arbitrage, which I don't think they'll ever do. I know they won't ever do. I started hedging my bets, obviously, with wholesale and private label. And so the new ACE is going to be more and more geared towards wholesale and private label. We listen to our clients, what they want more of, more education, more sources to buy from, more teaching, mindset and psychology, more how do I grow, how do I scale, how do I automate, how do I outsource, how do I delegate. And so we're doing more and more wholesale ourselves, and we're going to be teaching more and more wholesale to the clients. For those of you that are in the matrix, you've already seen this. For those of you that are not in the matrix, get your butts in there. We have a whole series of private label videos, a whole series of wholesale videos, tons and tons of content with Facebook ads and ClickFunnels, and tons and tons of different software that we're investigating. Software that we use, software that we're starting to use, software that we're hearing good things about from clients. And so we want to be the one-stop shop for everything e-commerce. We're working fast and furious. We're reinvesting every penny of ACE back into ACE, into learning management systems and wholesale sources and payroll. And, first year of ACE, it was me and Jay. Now we have about 20 people working on ACE. So you guys have a lot of ammunition between the wholesale sources and the back office stuff that our VAs are doing. Right there should pay for the ACE membership 10 times over. For those of you that are not using our back office team, we handle returns, refunds, reimbursements, shipment reconciliation, stranded inventory, suppressed inventory, unfulfillable inventory, feedback removal, everything except buyer messages, which we want you guys to handle, and obviously are time sensitive. We handle policy violations. So we handle for you as part of your ACE membership. So if you're not in there, email support@AmazonConsultingExperts.com. Most clients get back at least $5,000 a year. And it's either something you're doing yourself, which you shouldn't be, or you're outsourcing for $250 a month, which is $3,000 a year, which is 60% of your ACE membership if you're at the $5,000 level. We're going to be doing much like we did with Uncle Jackie and the retail arbitrage. We're going to be having you guys peek over our team's shoulders with online arbitrage and wholesale and private label and closeouts and liquidations and white label and Amazon to Amazon flips. So I think there's a lot of things that we're working on. As you all know, there's not enough hours in the day, and we're doing everything in our power to make this a very profitable business relationship for you guys. And I put my heart and my soul into ACE. You know, it's 2 years old. It's still in the infant stage. My Amazon business is 6 years old, so it's much more mature. It's more on autopilot. People that have been with me 5.5 years, so I don't even have to tell them what I'm thinking. They already know. And we're sparing no expense with ACE. And if there's any value that you think we can add to ACE, you know, I'm always open to suggestions, and you know, we want to help you guys make a lot of money. That's why we do what we do. You know, when we get the letters and the testimonials and the emails and the private messages, and you know, saying, "Hey, you changed my business," or "You changed my life," or you know, because of you, we could do X, Y, Z, or whatever. You know, it really, that's why we do what we do. It's not about the money. You know. The only reason we charge money is because it takes so much time away from our Amazon business, and it wouldn't be fair to our investors and partners in that business if we devoted most of our time to ACE without being compensated for it. So that being said, if anybody has any questions about Nike or Amazon in general, I'm here. My staff is here. Randy, I wouldn't worry about anything if you haven't gotten an email. You know, sell what you have. I personally will not be buying Nike for the next 30 days or until we have better information, whichever comes sooner. That being said, I've talked my head off for almost 33 minutes, and I will see you guys on the other side of Facebook or the Matrix or the phone or the email or the text messages or wherever that may be. Have a great day, and happy selling.